have I have to be transparent and honest and accountable and truthful. And the fact of the matter is I don't know how to do many of those things with myself. I try to hold myself with a higher level of integrity these days, as I have done a lot of terrible things in my past. But in my nature, I'm a good person, and I know that. And I struggle with the beauty and the beast inside of me. Because, well, life has not been pleasant, to say the least. And because it's not been pleasant, there is a blessing in that, because God has put me here on this earth to help restore and restoring self-confidence, self-esteem, to help restore the family unit, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children and the hearts of the children to their fathers. And I don't sit in a position at the moment of success in that. At least not in the way that I would like it to be. I'm like 80% of the way there. There's still a lot of work that I need to do. There is a lot of work that I have done in order to achieve this state. However, many times what I say out loud, what I say to friends, what I say to the camera mostly, I have minimized my life down to very, very few people. But mostly what I say to the public through these videos, I have struggled to accomplish. I've spent the last 4.5-ish years, a little bit longer than that really, but 4 years of intentional time, developing curriculum, developing strategy, developing protocol, developing a system to help with this work that God has called me to do. And it includes PTSD stuff. It includes confidence stuff. And really what it is if there was a blueprint for a successful pathway for a child to be born and then achieve adulthood with the ability to strive and thrive on their own, that's what I've created. Because most people that are suffering today didn't have that. There are milestones, there are milestones in succession that should be achieved. And this comes from the developmental psychology point of view, but there are milestones that should be achieved, and we see them, right? You're born, you crawl, you stand and wobble, you walk, you run, right? That's a succession. And psychologically, environmentally, relationships, and so forth, we don't always get to have those milestones happen. And so, what we can do, however, is, because I think if we are developed, right, we have hands and fingers. I know some people have abnormalities because genetics go haywire sometimes. The genes and DNA misfire. However, we can see on a 99% level that we are wired to develop specifically physically in certain ways, right? I believe psychologically and spiritually as well, mentally, emotionally, so forth. And so when we miss those milestones, our brains are still underdeveloped. So for the last 4 years, as I've been developing my curriculum, I've been putting myself through that process. And it is it's been quite the battle. This week marks a new chapter. You see, when we have the desires of our hearts in continuous thought, in continuous pondering, and we don't let them become jaded, we don't give up on them, we don't see, the desires of our hearts are different than the prayers of our mind, because the prayers of our mind are fickle, they're finicky, and the desires of our hearts are pretty dang solid. We know what we really want in life. We know what we truly desire. And with our brains, we can manipulate that to placate or minimize or whatever. And so the desires of my heart are beginning to be answered. And yet this week is another proof that our Heavenly Father loves us. I'll do another video on the story behind that. But it's pretty amazing. I'm being called to another transformation. And I'm struggling to accept it, which leads me back to the beginning of the video. I have to be honest. I have to be truthful. That I struggle. That I mean what I say, but I don't always act towards it. Because I'm human. And I've been through a hell of a lot. However, there are many scriptures that talk about how affliction and suffering will be used to the benefit of those that do. Of course, that's a massive paraphrase, and I'm not a scriptorian. But it's the furnace of affliction, right? Consecrated into a shorter period of time. And for 38 years, I have been consecrated in the fire of affliction. So, that means for the second half of my life, I get to utilize the skills, talents, traits, attributes, characteristics, all of the things that I've been developed into through it. So, let's get after it. Become elite. And find somebody to be kind to today.